And more Latinos, as a matter of fact, are beginning to communicate while speaking the language English and Spanish. But while some may disagree with mixing the two languages, others claim it's a reflection of their world.
I communicate in Spanglish just as easily as I communicate in English. It's something that comes out subconsciously a lot of the time.
It is sometimes uses words from English that are Spanishized and Spanish words that are Englishized, and sometimes half a sentence is in one language and half a sentence is in another language. Every time there are different cultural groups in contact, this happens. People's two languages mesh the way their two ways of living mesh.
While the meshing may be inevitable, not everyone embraces Spanglish.
Whereas the older members of the community, or the first generation, is horrified by the word Spanglish, the newer, younger groups sometimes are very proud of the fact that they speak both languages at the same time.
I'm as American as I am Puerto Rican. I am a Spanish speaker as much as I'm an English speaker. My experiences, my struggles, my convictions, my ideals all come from having to live within two worlds, essentially. Being Puerto Rican, Latina at home, and having to be able to function and interact with people that are American and from different cultures on the outside.
For some Latinos, Spanglish is an example of being bicultural and showing off a skill.
One thing that happens with bilinguals is that they know when to speak what to whom, and they've been trained to speak to Spanish monolinguals in Spanish and English monolinguals in English. But when they're with each other, they feel freest when they're talking both languages at once.
I know that there are other people out there that think in Spanish and English at the same time as I do. And that just comes from hearing Spanish my entire life, speaking English my entire life, and then eventually doing both.
If I'm talking to you in just English, or if I'm talking to you in just Spanish, it doesn't really capture the Ana Celia that was born and raised in New York. For that, I have to have both of the languages that raised me.
I think it's interesting to be able to speak that effortlessly, you know, going from one language to another. And her whole thought process seems to be able to do just the two, which is kind of interesting.
I think it's such an advantage to be able to speak a different language.
Yeah, I think they have an edge on a lot of the kids who don't have that kind of skill to be able to speak bilingually.
Dave speaks Spenglish.
Whoops.
Combination of...
Whoops.
Of English and obscene.